We've all seen it. Two gas stations on the same street, selling the same product, but at different prices. Variety in gas prices can dictate a commuter's route to work or impact the cost of a family's summer vacation. Americans are keenly aware of the impact gas prices can have on their lives. But all drivers have probably wondered at some point, why do gas prices vary so much from state to state, town to town, and sometimes even block to block? Overall, gas prices are dictated by a combination of global, national, and local economic forces. They vary depending on how those forces add up. We'll explain. Here's a breakdown of where your money goes at the pump. The biggest factor that impacts gas prices is the one you probably expect, the price of crude oil. This doesn't explain price differences from pump to pump, but it does explain why the price of a gallon of gas can fluctuate from day to day. Changes in gas prices follow changes in oil prices. Oil prices fluctuate for a variety of reasons. First, they depend on the output from oil-producing countries, like the top ones shown here. If a major oil producer like Saudi Arabia cuts production, the price could rise. In fact, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, sometimes does this on purpose, to raise the price of crude oil. Other factors that affect the cost of crude oil include speculation in financial markets, the amount of stockpiled oil reserves, geopolitical and weather events, and demand. The United States has the highest demand for crude oil in the world, consuming 19.6 million barrels per day. This demand is seasonal. U.S. oil demand increases over the first half of the year and peaks in summer months as travel increases. Summer travel often involves crossing state lines, and gas prices can vary substantially from state to state. Those differences mostly have to do with state taxes and refining methods. There's a federal excise tax that everyone pays, but each state also levies their own gas tax. Pennsylvania drivers pay over 77 cents per gallon in taxes, the nation's highest, while drivers in Alaska pay the lowest in taxes, at just over 32 cents per gallon. Some of these taxes go to state departments of transportation, and over the past decade, more than 24 states have increased their tax rates to fund infrastructure projects. Beyond taxes, fuel additives and refining processes create price differences between states. Most of the fuel sold in the U.S. is 10% ethanol. Coastal states may see a 2 to 3 cent gas price increase to cover the transportation costs to ship the additive from the nation's Corn Belt. Some states are also required by law to use special reformulated gasoline that reduces air pollution. It's currently used in 18 states and makes up about 30% of the fuel sold in the U.S. Reformulated gasoline was almost 30 cents more on average than conventional gas in 2018. California has one of the highest gas taxes and most stringent reformulated gas programs in the country, leading to prices consistently above the national average. Also, very few facilities outside of the state are equipped to refine its specialized fuel. When 2 of the state's 13 reformulated gas refineries experienced outages in 2015, fuel had to be imported from overseas, driving up the price. But what about that few cents difference between neighboring gas stations? That often comes down to marketing decisions made by station owners. The majority of gas stations in the United States are privately owned businesses. Station owners negotiate contracts with fuel suppliers that cover shipment frequency, volume, and branding. Disruptions up the supply chain, like a refinery shutdown, can impact stations differently depending on the terms of their contract, which can lead to different prices at different locations. But also, profit margins on gas are low compared to other goods sold at gas stations, like food and drinks. After expenses, a station will take in an average of 10 to 15 cents for every gallon of gas sold, according to an industry trade group. Fuel accounts for a majority of sales at gas stations, but only about a third of profits. Station owners make most of their money from in-store purchases. In a recent industry survey, over half of drivers said that the gas price is the biggest factor when deciding where to fill up. A slightly lower gas price can increase customer traffic to a store, creating more opportunities for owners to sell those higher margin in-store items. The cost of a gallon of gas at any time is a reflection of multiple economic forces, both large and small. But gas stations will always try to find a way to get drivers to go that extra mile.